There's a ton of new balance, weapon, map, and progression changes coming to Marathon on June 2nd, a part of the Season 2 Nightfall update. My favorite of which has to be the introduction of the Cradle system, a complete overhaul of how we build our runners' stats. Gone are the days of upgrading your runner's stats through skill tree upgrades from grinding salvage. This system not only lightens the grind when chasing the most optimal way to build your runner, but it also puts an emphasis on the new trait system when it comes to implants. Anyways, I'm not really Nick, let's talk about how this could affect you in Season 2 of Marathon. One of the biggest complaints everyone had as a community was how difficult the progression in Marathon was in the first season. A lot of what you were doing was exfilling salvage, which exfilling is hard enough in itself, and using that salvage towards skill tree upgrades, a lot of which kind of felt obsolete and you didn't even need them, but you still had to unlock them to unlock capstones, so you had to do it. But all of that changes in Season 2 with the Cradle. All of your stats are going to be directly tied to this system, and perks will come through upgrades. It looks like upgrading the system is going to be through pretty much destroying any guns, equipment, and other things that you don't need in your vault. So instead of just selling it for credits now, you're going to be able to sell that, or destroy that rather, and then put it towards the Cradle to upgrade that to where you've got that across all shells, and you'll have it for the entire duration of the season. And in the same blog post, Bungie mentioned that there's not going to be any negative consequences or drawbacks for reallocating points in the Cradle system or removing them completely and adjusting whenever you want to change shells completely and change runners. So you can take all the points off one category. If you want to adjust agility, if you want to adjust loot speed, you can put it wherever you want and there's not going to be any consequences. Which is great compared to the system we have now, because if you play long enough and you grind out the skill tree, sure, you'll get your 65 agility, your heat capacity, and all of that. But implant chasing just becomes finding that last 30 or 40 points. And a lot of the implants put way too many points towards firewall, hardware, things that you may not care about, but you have to run a certain implant because, it might give you the revive speed you're looking for. It might give you the self-repair you're looking for. Now you're in complete control of, okay, I can put this implant on, focus on the trait that it provides me, play around that trait, and then I can adjust my runner's shell and ability through the Cradle to make up for it. Okay, this implant gives me, plus 20 agility. That's great. I max out 100 agility now. Now I can take whatever the difference is from that implant and what it's providing you and put that somewhere else. Here's an example of my stats as Vandal at the end of this season here. I got 85 heat capacity, 90 agility. That's without a shield on because it's going to affect those a little bit. I didn't put any time on getting any more hardware or firewall upgrades, which is fine. A lot of that stuff is really situational, and I didn't feel like the salvage was worth using it on it. And that's for a lot of things throughout that skill tree, not just the stats. But the nice part is, moving our stats over to the Cradle, I can avoid being in the same position at the end game of next season, where right now it just makes most sense for me to run the blue versions of Regen 3, Survival Kit 3, and Strike Kit to get the most out of Vandal consistently. I don't have to chase purple implants, and golds hardly excite me because the stats are going to be the same. Anything over 100 for me isn't going to matter. It's going to be nice with the Cradle system being able to take that overflow past 100 and put it somewhere else to where I can balance any shell out. It's going to be nice not having to depend on finding certain implants inside your run, having to share those amongst your team, and depending on a certain set amount of barters each day. And once you run out, you just run out. Sorry, there goes your heat capacity for the day. It's going to be nice being able to have complete control of how your runner feels. It's also huge that you're pretty much just using the trash in your vault that, originally you just get credits for it and you can turn that into barters and, whatever you can buy from the armory. But now being able to just, bring a couple guns out that you may not have brought up before just to level up your Cradle seems like a good change, especially when compared to how hard it was to find, purple salvage in the early game and gold salvage in the late game to upgrade the same stats that you were just getting out of implants. You could find a whole lot easier since you couldn't go over 100, and it just forced you into a lot of situations where you're already at 100, you're at 140, it doesn't do a whole lot. It looks cool, but it doesn't do anything for you past 100. When you just spend all this salvage on it to where you're incentivized to just use, a lower implant because purple and gold don't matter anymore. It became way too easy just to skip out on purple and gold implants because they don't fit your playstyle or fit the stats that you're looking for. The only purple implants I could run as Vandal are purple survival kit, purple sprint kit, and purple strike kit. Those balance my stats just like the Cradle will for me, but they're much harder to come by, so you can't depend on it. And I think it's a lot more enjoyable to have a system to where it's fully in your control. You got to put the work in to max it out and get the most out of the Cradle, but after that, It's all in your control on how you want to play and how you want to build your runner. I don't feel like that should be locked behind 3 months of grinding, a skill tree to unlock. The Cradle is also going to be a good system for the new fan base and players to engage with, to feel like they're progressing a little bit more in this game compared to what we had at launch, especially considering how much salvage was needed to get the same stat upgrades that we're going to have with the Cradle. And that was really one of the main focuses people voiced their opinions about in the early game when the game released. People thought the progression was going to be too difficult and it was going to be too much of a grind to get stuff that you really should have from the start. Hopefully maxing the Cradle system isn't too tedious to allow for you to play the way you want to play quicker. But anyways, it's about all I have on the Cradle system. I look forward to being able to optimize and build out my shell efficiently, and I look forward to seeing what the community does with it as well. As Season 2 approaches, I'd love to hear what you guys are most excited about and look forward to covering it in some videos. I'll see y'all then.